All right, section 5.4, we're working with coordinate geometry and we're working with multiple shapes today. So a refresher of the distance formula. We actually aren't going to use this on notes today, but on the homework, there's different ways you can do one of the problems, and one of the ways you can do it is distance formula. So you guys have learned that before. We did this in chapter 4, so here's a refresher of what the formula is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to graph the polygon. Polygon is a fancy word for shape. And we're going to graph it using the given vertices and then give the most specific name for it. So here we have 3 vertices, so this would have to be a triangle. If you have 3, it would always be a triangle. So we're going to graph it. And I would label your points as you graph. And then connect your points to draw the shape. Okay, so we are going to classify this triangle by the angles and by the sides. So by the angles, what kind of triangle is this? Kaden?
Right triangle.
Right triangle. So then if we look at the sides, we can count 2 of the sides. So if we count 2 of the sides, how long is this side? How many units? 4. And this BC is 4. My graph moved a little bit. Here we go. 4 and 4. So if we have 2 sides that are both 4, what kind of triangle would this be?
Isosceles.
Isosceles. So this is a right isosceles triangle. Okay, so we're going to practice this again with a different shape. So this time we have 4 vertices. So because we have 4 vertices, what is this not?
A triangle.
Not a triangle. So let's graph it. Okay, what would you call this shape? Not a rectangle. A what? It's a trapezoid. It's a trapezoid because it has one set of parallel sides. Typically, you see trapezoids more like this.
Yeah.
But this is still technically a trapezoid. Okay, so if we look at the next one, we have 3 points, so this has to be a triangle. Okay, so we're going to classify this triangle by the angles and by the sides. So right, and I just heard scaling, I think. Okay, so if you count this side, it's 3. This side, it is 5. And we are just kind of assuming that the diagonal is not 3 or 5. You could technically figure out how long it is by Pythagorean theorem or distance formula. So right scalene. I would like you guys to do the next one. Notice how it's not 3 points, so it is not a triangle. Mhm.
That's not right. That's an upside down triangle. Why do you only straight lines?
I have four.
There.
Okay, so if I plot all of these points,
I have these two. Yeah, this one.
That's right.
okay, and then what is the most specific name for this shape? This is a rectangle. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna look at is when we have a missing vertex and we need to find the point of the missing vertex. So if triangle ABC has a right angle at B, so this is gonna end up being a right angle, and AB is 4, find one set of possible coordinates for A. So how would I figure this out? So I'm missing A. I know that AB is 4 units long. What should I do? I just need to either go up or go down 4. So on this graph, it'd be easier to go up 4, and that would be my point A to make my triangle. So what would be my coordinate for A?
2, 5.
2, 5. Okay, so then quadrilateral LMNP is a parallelogram. Find the coordinates for M. So remember, a parallelogram is like a slanted rectangle. So where would I put point M? Okay,
Maybe? I don't know.
right here. Does that look right? So M would be at 4, 1. Okay, so for the next problem, triangle ABC has a right angle at C. So here's my right angle, either there or there. And AC is 2. Find one possible set for point A. One coordinate that could be point A.
4, 0.
Okay, so I can either go up 2 and have A be right here, or I could go down 2 and make that A. So I would say that A can either be 4, 0, or A could be 4, -4. Either would be okay. Okay, so I want you to try this one. Okay, anybody get what point N should be? Yes.
1, -2.
1, -2. Okay, so if I put it there, I created a trapezoid.
1, 0. Yeah. Oh, it's just
1, 0. Okay, so 1, 0 works.
Would 1 -1 work?
No, I think that would create another trapezoid. So N would be 1, 0. Okay, so you guys have a little space under this problem where it says midpoint formula. So I want you guys to write that, write this formula in there. So the formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So we're going to use this to calculate the midpoint between two coordinates. If it's a diagonal line, if it's a vertical or horizontal line, you could count the midpoint with your boxes. But if it's a diagonal, you can't do that. So that's when we would use this midpoint formula. Okay, so for the first problem, we are finding the coordinates of the midpoint between point A and point B. So first we need to write down what the coordinates are. So A is -3, 1, and B is 4, 3. So then I'm going to plug those into my midpoint formula. So it is x1 plus x2, so my -3 plus 4 divided by 2, comma, and then I add my y's and divide by 2. So 1 plus 3 divided by 2. So then we're going to simplify this. So -3 plus 4 equals 1. So 1 over 2, and then 1 plus 3 is 4. So 4 over 2. And then I'll simplify it one more time. So 1 over 2 can't be simplified. I would just leave that as 1/2. But 4 over 2 becomes 2. So it's not a difficult formula. You're just adding up your y's and dividing by 2, adding up x's dividing by 2. You're basically finding the average of the two coordinates is what you're doing. So I'd like you guys to try that on this problem. So find the midpoint between A and B. Okay, so what did you get for the coordinate A? 0, 2, comma 2, and then B,
3 comma
3, comma 5. So then if I plug this into my midpoint formula, I have 0 plus 3 divided by 2, and then 2 plus 5 divided by 2. So if I simplify that, I have 3 over 2, comma 7 over 2, and can those fractions be simplified? You can make them into a decimal or a mixed number, but I would just leave them improper. Okay? Yes, question?
For B, I got 3 comma.
Me too.
Yep, I sure did, right here. And then I wrote down 2, didn't I? No, 0 plus 3, and then 2 plus 5. So you have to do x plus x, y plus y. Okay, so for your homework, you have graph paper, and I labeled where the graphs are gonna go. Like, I labeled what numbers go with the graphs, if that makes sense.